You've been telling everyone that God is silent. You've been complaining that you can't find direction, that the heavens are closed, and that you're wandering in a desert of divine radio silence. But let me give you the hard truth. God isn't silent. You're just loud. You've filled your life with so much clutter, so many opinions, and so much digital static that the voice of the Creator has been drowned out by the volume of the creature. God doesn't shout to be heard. He whispers to be sought. If you're waiting for a thunderclap but you won't turn off the TV, you're not looking for God. You're looking for a spectacle. Hearing God isn't about getting Him to speak louder. It's about you becoming quieter. Today, we're going to look at the 3 ways you can clear the air and tune your heart back into the frequency of heaven. Number 1, mute the crowd. The first step to hearing God again is to mute the crowd. This is the discipline of digital and social fasting. You can't hear the shepherd when you're constantly listening to the influencers. You're trying to hear a heartbeat at a rock concert. You've given the world 10 hours of your attention through scrolling, news, and notifications, and then you give God 10 minutes of drive-through prayer and wonder why His voice feels distant. Proverbs 4 verse 23 tells us to guard our hearts with all diligence. That includes guarding your ear gate. If you're constantly consuming the drama, the gossip, and the noise of other people's lives, you're building a spiritual wall between you and the Spirit. You've become a drainer of your own peace. God doesn't do conference calls. He does private meetings. If you aren't willing to turn off the notifications, you aren't ready for the revelation. You need to recognize that your scrolling is actually a spiritual barrier. To hear this still, small voice, you have to be willing to silence the loud, large world. Stop seeking the likes of men if you want the lead of the Master. Number 2, silence the self. The second step to hearing God again is to silence the self. This is about killing the me monologue. Most of what we call prayer is really just us talking to ourselves in God's presence. You're not seeking a word, you're seeking a mirror. You've already made up your mind about the situation, and you're just waiting for God to sign off on your agenda. When you approach God with your own opinion already locked in, you aren't listening for His voice. You're listening for an echo of your own. James 1 verse 19 says we should be quick to listen, slow to speak. This applies to your prayer life. If you spend 20 minutes telling God what He should do and 0 minutes waiting for Him to tell you what you should do, you haven't prayed. You've protested. You have to create a vacancy in your soul. You have to be willing to be wrong. Until you silence your own rightness, you will never hear His righteousness. Stop building your own ladder and start waiting for His lift. Number 3, isolate the intimacy. The third way to hear Him again is to isolate the intimacy. This is the secret place strategy. God is a jealous God, not because He is insecure, but because He is intentional. He doesn't want to compete with your to-do list or your background music. When Elijah was looking for God in 1 Kings 19, God wasn't in the wind, He wasn't in the earthquake, and He wasn't in the fire. He was in the still, small voice. That voice is only audible when you're close. If you're only looking for God in the big moments, the church conferences, the loud worship sets, the emotional highs, you will miss the direction He wants to give you in the mundane. You need to move from the outer court of public noise to the inner room of private rest. If you aren't willing to be alone, you aren't able to be led. Make a secret place your priority. Set a chair, put away the phone, and sit in the silence until the silence stops feeling awkward and starts feeling like an audience with the King. The problem isn't the signal, it's the receiver. Heaven is broadcasting 24/7, but your frequency is jammed by the world, the self, and the stress. You don't need a new word from God as much as you need a new ear for what He's already saying. The Father is waiting for you to run out of breath so He can finally give you His Spirit. He's waiting for the room to get dark enough so you can see His light. Turn down the world, shut up your own arguments, and get alone with the Master. When you get quiet, you'll realize He hasn't been silent. He's been waiting for you to listen. It's time to tune out the world so you can tune into the Word. Type "clear the air" in the comments if you're committing to a 24-hour noise fast to hear God's voice again. If this video helped you understand why your prayer life has felt like static, hit that like button and share this with someone who is searching for direction. Let's get quiet so we can get clear. I'll see you in the next video.